The Blair Witch Project? Oh!
Nailed that one.
Yeah, you like that?
Hey, Zach,
Yes.
remind me when I go into the public hearing. Which part?
Oh,
After.
it's because it's not.
No, it's before the approval, Jim.
Yeah, I think we do it in advance.
But do it after the first call to the public?
Well, I would probably do it before the first call to the public.
I would do the approval of the agenda.
We approve the agenda, but we need to amend the agenda to include
To
the public,
include the public comment.
hearing.
Yeah.
I never got
Yeah.
that
Public hearing,
one.
sorry.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, let's open the meeting, approve the agenda, go into the public hearing.
And then meeting minutes? So right after
Because
the
that's how
agenda?
it was.
That's what we usually do at the board level. I don't
Okay.
think that
That's not-
it necessarily matters.
I don't care
but
either, guys.
yeah.
Whatever you think, okay.
Why so far away? Why don't you scoot in?
7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda.
So I'd like to amend it.
Well, the thing is, this is the agenda for the regular meeting.
Oh,
We just need to
for the
suspend.
regular meeting? Yeah.
So there's already an agenda.
Okay, so then, yeah, then I'll
I never understood it either, but that's what.
I'll make a motion then for that.
I'll second.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't know if we were gonna amend it, so that's okay. You're right, that makes sense, because we'll have to suspend it.
Motion and support to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda is approved. Now I would like to go into the public hearing, so we need a motion to suspend.
I'll make that motion to suspend the current meeting to go into a public hearing.
Support.
Motion and support to suspend the regular meeting and go into a public hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this is public hearing. This notice below was published in the Tri-County Times on Sunday, January 25th, 2026, in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. Notice is hereby given that the Tyrone Township Planning Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, February 10th, 2026, beginning at 7 p.m. at the Tyrone Township Hall, 8420 Running Lake Road, Fenton, Michigan, 48430. The purpose of the public hearing is a request by Michael Clendenin to rebuild a single-family dwelling that was destroyed by a fire. He would like to rebuild in the same footprint in accordance with Tyrone Township zoning ordinance number 36, section 26.04.B.1-4 of Tyrone Township zoning ordinance number 36. Non-conforming structures. The property is located at 10033 Sonora Drive, Fenton, Michigan, 48430, parcel ID 4704-08-402-008, and is zoned R1, single-family residential. I don't think I need to read all of that. Okay, so could, whoops, hang on. Is the applicant here? If you would like to step forward and near that microphone, and we can go over your application. So your house burned down and you just want to rebuild in the same location as it was?
Yes. Well, the problem is my existing house is 7 feet off the fence.
Okay, so 7 feet off the property line. And And that is is that the only non-conforming
That's right.
issue?
We have a site plan here as far as the nonconformities. The front yard is conforming, it's just going to be one side yard setback.
And so that,
And that's my neighbor's actual backyard, because he's on a different street, so it's not like his side yard. It's
So,
his backyard.
the existing nonconformity, that's a, what do you call it, legal nonconformity?
It's a legally existing structure.
Non-conforming structure.
Until it burns down, in which case
Yep, it did.
this process.
So,
Catastrophic
there's gonna be
events.
no difference in the nonconformity, same as it was, because you're building in the same spot.
I'm actually gonna be 11 feet off the fence instead of 7.
Oh, okay, I see that here. So
It's
you're,
a reduction.
I'm gaining.
you're moving it a little bit, understood,
But I'm not gonna be the 20 that you're supposed to be.
gotcha. How did what caused the fire?
They never determined it.
Never determined, you didn't do it on purpose? All right. I think it says that, doesn't it?
Is it-
No,
It does.
it does.
It does, it's a fair question.
So that's part of our criteria, we
Yeah.
gotta verify.
Yeah, you're right. I missed that one.
So, let the planning commission, we would like to go through these criteria here. Shall determine the following standards are observed. Neighborhood compatibility. The non-conforming structure will be designed, constructed, and maintained to be compatible with the existing character of the general facility in consideration of environmental impacts, drainage, views, aesthetics, noise, vibration, glare, air quality, traffic, and property values. Any concerns with any of those? From the planning commission? I have none. So hearing none. B, health, safety, and welfare. The proposed use shall be designed, located, planned, and operated to protect the public health, safety, and welfare. Any concerns with any of those? Hearing none. Additional development. The non-conforming structure shall be of a location, height, and nature that will not interfere with or discourage the appropriate development of use of adjacent land and buildings or unreasonably affect their value. I don't think any issues there. Any thoughts? Hearing? Go ahead.
I don't see any neighbors complaining.
We haven't got to that part yet. Unreasonable burden. Reconstruction of a similar structure in strict conformance with the standards of the zoning ordinance will be unreasonable or unnecessarily burdensome, preventing the use of land for any and all permitted structures. I would say that would be unreasonable to make them rebuild it at 20 foot offset.
Right.
It is consistent with the character of the neighborhood.
I think so.
Look at all the adjacent
Yeah.
properties, they're all pretty much exactly the same setbacks. It
Yep.
conforms.
I would say that was unreasonable. Any other thoughts on that?
I got a question about, and
One
again,
more criteria. Is it general or to the unreasonable burden?
this is maybe unreasonable.
Okay, go.
When it comes to, there was a basement already there, or?
It was a bi-level house.
Okay,
So
well, never mind that.
It's a, a 5-foot foundation
Okay.
or whatever it's.
Are you having to like rip it up or whatever when you move your 11 feet from 7 feet? Are you having to rip up anything there, or?
Yeah, everything.
Okay,
It's a full demo.
okay, that's what I was wondering, if you're doing a full demo.
Yes.
Come on.
Substantial justice. Reconstruction of the non-conforming structure will provide substantial justice to the applicant and will not prove injurious to property owners in the vicinity. I think it provides substantial justice. Reconstruction period. Reconstruct of the non-conforming structure must commence within 12 months of the incident causing damage unless the zoning administrator and/or planning commission determine circumstances beyond control of the applicant result in delays, example, insurance claim, determination time. Are you gonna rebuild it within 12 months?
I'm gonna rebuild it as soon as the frost laws lift because I gotta wait for that.
When was the incident.
June 8th.
Well, I guess this is, unless the zoning administrator and/or the planning commission determine. So Ross can determine that if, in my opinion, if you need more time, go see Ross.
Yep.
It was June of 2025.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you may need more time then, so you
Yeah.
can just see Ross, and he's allowed to approve that without us, is that correct?
Yep.
All right. Okay, I think that covers all the criteria, so that could be an opportunity for a motion, not yet, once we get back into the meeting, but now we should, any other planning commission comments on this application?
Are you basically just rebuilding the same house? I mean, okay.
No, I'm not. It's actually gonna be set, it's gonna go deeper. But the front's gonna stay the same, and the side's gonna be, I'm actually about to build a one-story range.
Okay.
Ultimately, it's
We
a
tried.
reduction in the nonconformity.
Okay.
And we tried really hard to do a two-story.
Say,
but
could you do a two-story?
The garage offset would have been the whole 24 feet of the garage to fit it in to give me a square enough house to build a two-story. And we couldn't get it to fit at all. So we went with a one-story ranch. So the garage doesn't have such a big setback, so I'm losing back there, but that's really all the change.
All right, I think that's everything we need from you. I will open it up for public comments.
I'll first make a note that we've received no comments at
Oh,
all.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nothing on file either against or in favor, so.
And you sent it out to the, any properties that are
It
required
was
to?
sent to everyone within 300 feet as well as published in the paper.
Sounds good. Any public comments on this application? Okay, Scott, come on up.
Scott Dietrich, White Road. After being in real estate for a few years, and I don't know if that's on, I've seen this happen a lot, with people tearing down old houses, and I told them they had to keep one wall up, you know. I think it was ridiculous, you know, to conform, because it did conform back when they put the house in, so it, you know, apparently, so, and they're only non-conforming because of our setbacks are different today. But what I like to do is I like to see the futures cut some of this stuff out. I hate to see stuff cut out anyway, you know that. But to speed up the process for people like this, instead of going through this, because if you're using the same footprint, why have to go through this? Because, I mean,
Well,
we pay, I'm just making a comment, they pay the taxes, and you don't want that land to not be used again. And if there's, as long as they're falling in the same footprint, boy, it sure would be a lot easier for someone to burn their house down to speed up that process. And like I said, it's just, it's hard, and even if you were tearing it down and building and remodeling, I still think that, hey, if you're staying in the same footprint, I mean, we want a house there, we want the tax money. It was there anyway. It's not like there wasn't nothing there. It was a vacant lot, it's different. So that just, you know, like I said, I think something like this, fires and stuff, we'd like to kind of speed it up for these people. And it sounds like he's been dealing with it for a while, so.
I agree. I think it could be easier, you know, in some cases though, this one's got very slight change, but in some cases there could be, you know, you could see it on a lake in a small, small house, and then they build a huge one and is maybe blocking someone's view. So there could be some, there's,
Could be exceptions to the.
yeah, I do think that, in my opinion, that there should be no charge. But,
Yeah.
but there was, so,
Same
Make a note that's been on the list as well.
yeah, I mean, that, I don't think there should be a charge, but we can't control that here.
Wonder if the insurance company would
For
cover it
existing
for
or.
That's a really good idea.
Unless they're non-conforming.
I don't know, it's $225 I think he paid,
Yeah.
but that,
Did you hear Zach's?
I just wonder if his insurance might cover it. I mean, it's a cost of reconstruction.
It's a cost
Just so
of
you know,
yeah.
but,
Answer that question, but
Yeah.
That's a good point.
yeah.
Something to check on.
Okay, any other comments regarding this application in the public hearing? Hearing none, close the public comments, and we don't have the agenda, but is there anything else we're supposed to? We already did applicants' comments, planners' comments, public hearing, or public comments, and then just close it?
Yeah, I think we're ready to close the public motion.
Yep, so,
Yeah, I'll make a motion to close it.
and then start the,
And start the regular meeting, yeah.
I'll support.
you got that, Ross, Zach?
Got it.
We have a motion and support to close the public hearing and return to the regular meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, back to the regular planning commission meeting and moving on to approval of the minutes.
Move to approve the minutes of January 13th.
Support. Yes.
Motion and support to approve the planning commission regular meeting minutes for January 13th, 2026. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting minutes are approved. Moving to call to the public for agenda items. Hearing none, close call to the public. Moving on to new business, item 1, Clendenin request to rebuild dwelling. We completed the public hearing. Any further discussion on this application? And Garrett, if you want to get up to speed
Oh, yeah, let the
on
record,
that, yeah.
let the record show Garrett's here too, yeah.
He wants to, as you see in the packet, he wants to build a house pretty much same footprint as before, not as close to the adjacent property line. It was 7, he's at 11 now, moving over a little bit, but can't get to the full 20.
Okay.
And he didn't burn the house down, and we went over the whole list of criteria, and we determined that,
What is that homeowner here?
yeah, that's him.
Did you get what kind of foundation is it?
Right now,
Is it a block, is it poured wall?
it's blocked.
Block, was it, yeah, obviously total loss, did you get the foundation inspected at all, make sure everything was good?
It's totally being demolished.
Okay,
It's gonna be a whole new foundation,
okay,
It's just the footprint, not the
not
structure.
the footprint.
okay,
Actual foundation.
all right, yeah, that's all I had.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was too.
So I think a potential motion could be something on the order of, Ross, do you know the section number of this thing I'm looking at? 26.04.
It could be as simple as approval of the site plan to rebuild the structure located at the address.
Oh, but should we include that we determined that there was,
You can, but it's not necessary typically.
Okay.
In this situation, it's not zoning board of appeals. It's a given that you've gone through the criteria if you're making a motion, but
all right,
that's.
and it's in the video.
Yeah.
All right,
So I would make a motion to approve the request, provided that construction commences within 12 months of the incident, or upon a determination by the zoning administrator that any delay was a result of circumstances beyond the control of the applicant.
I'll support that. We have a motion and support to approve the application as presented with the 12 months criteria, which is in the ordinance. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved. Sorry you had to go through that. Moving on to old business, item 1, data centers. Rob, so, Mario,
Mario was unable to attend tonight, so unfortunately we don't have any updates on the ongoing structure, framework, or draft ordinance document. All that we do have in front of us today is what was recently sent over by Livingston County Planning, as far as a sample ordinance that's sent out to all municipalities within Livingston County. Assuming that you've all had a chance to kind of look through that, it's just kind of, I guess, an opportunity for us to have a discussion, make suggestions, if there's any direction that you want to go in, that, you know, you may want me to relay to Mario, I can make note of that.
Has Mario actually seen the,
I did include it as well.
okay.
Yeah, he received it at the same time.
What are, any thoughts yet, or?
No,
Okay.
it's a little bit preliminary.
Okay, that's what I was
I mean, right now, we're still in the educational and research phase. So right now, it's just kind of a little bit informal, just kind of trying to see if anyone has any thoughts, opinions, ideas based on what the county sent over, to see if we may want to incorporate any of it into our own ordinance. I think we've already decided that we don't want to, you know, cookie cutter it. We do want to tailor it to our community and, you know, based on our specific needs. So I mean, obviously it's at your discretion, but I don't think that we want to just take this and run with it. I think we want to continue to let Mario doing what he's doing, giving him feedback. But more or less, this is an opportunity to see if there's anything additional that can be added.
You know, I always like to see the best of both worlds, right? I like to make sure that we can have the best way of putting this together. And I think that, you know, we have some training coming up, and I'm really excited to see how bits and pieces of that training is going to work into this, if it does, or maybe we can come up with, you know, some sort of like graduated baseline, right, from the training plus this. So I don't know if anyone else here is going to be attending that training. I know John.
Yeah, so to clarify for everyone on the training that Ross talks about, it's one of those that either Greg or someone from the township sent on, these training opportunities. And so the subcommittee, me and Kevin and Bill are going to join Greg, supervisor, and this Thursday for a webinar. But we can't have the whole planning commission there. But you guys have the opportunity to tell Greg, hey, I want to sign up. And they'll sign you up.
If I'm not mistaken as well, the recording should be available.
Let's say from the recording,
I do intend
yeah.
to distribute to the planning commission.
Okay.
If it is,
Exactly.
but I'm not sure that it is available. Sometimes they don't do
If
those.
it's not, we should at least be able to get some kind of synopsis, notes.
Yes, it's at noon on Thursday.
Yeah,
And I believe it's noon to 2.
yeah.
That's what from Greg's email. And then there's another one coming up, I think
Well, we also want to stay within the spirit of the OMA too. Right?
Oh, we have to.
Absolutely.
but there's another one coming up in maybe March. I don't know, another data center webinar, I believe.
Yep.
So just stay tuned to those trainings that are coming through the email, because I think they're starting to really be more applicable.
We're going to continue to pass
And
along, and anything that's, you know, on individual basis, like, you know, an online webinar where you can just do it from your home computer, I'll be sure to pass all of that information along. I think this is just something that Greg, the officers, are trying out, just as an in-person thing.
I like it, it's great.
But obviously for, you know, Open Meetings Act reasons, that
Yeah.
we want to limit it to under a quorum, at least for the initial one.
Makes sense.
All right, so anyway, on that training tab, I think it is important because we can look here at this, okay, we got our draft outline, I'll call it, that Mario has put together. We don't have the revised one yet, but the last one. And then we got this example ordinance, which we'll go through. But as we look at these, think about things. Maybe there's chances for question and answers, we ask them. Or we have a question, we just see if it was addressed in the webinar.
Yep.
So this sample ordinance was from York County, Pennsylvania. So I think that's kind of important to note that it wasn't in Michigan, but, you know, they probably have more experience. And I've heard that multiple times, that this is a go-to ordinance. What does it say? Nationally recognized best practices. So, yeah, that's a letter from the county. So going on into the ordinance, I don't think we need to go through every section here, but I think a lot of them, you know, we've mentioned and have in our outline. Community environmental impacts, phased construction or full build out. I don't know if we specifically mentioned that, but that's something that we. Welcome to stay. It's data centers. It's a very interesting topic. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to stay.
You'll still be approved if you leave.
Yeah, you're already approved. Phased build out. I don't know if we've discussed that, but that's very important. You know.
Yes.
You know, I think it's something we get to it further down in the development of the ordinance. Compatibility with surrounding land uses, quality design and architecture, we've gone over that. Unique accessories, uses, capacity of public services. So pretty much all those we've discussed. Noise level, this is a little bit more into the specifics, I would say, than we've gotten into, but it's kind of nice to see 24-hour A-weighted average sound level from midnight to midnight obtained after the addition of 5 decibels to sound levels occurring in the evening. So more specific than we've gotten into yet, but something to go back to and look at. Not saying it's good or bad. I think we want to have a little more than that. I'm always thinking that there's a frequency type thing on the sound, but I don't know
It's
if that's
frequency
you know.
and
Not just
the cadence and the decibel level.
Well, in thinking about the comments we got on the medical marijuana, I think in there we had something like you can't have any sound. Well, we got to put any sound at the parcel line. Like they can have sound right outside their
There
barn.
need to be reasonable regulations.
Yeah.
I'm sure once we get legal
So,
counsel involved,
that's-
they can guide us a little bit better on what a reasonable level may be.
And here we're still into definitions really, so I guess I was a little off by saying that was the noise part. That was just what they call a community noise level, community noise equivalent level. So there's probably more noise. Definition of data center, I think is important. We've talked about our definitions, but these are good references if we want to go back to it. Data center, PUD, that's like developing a whole bunch of different things.
Well, we have a PUD, a plan unit development ordinance, so it's just kind of tying those together, I suppose. It's a mixed use, but it's focused on data centers as opposed to a variety of other type of potential businesses.
Yep, it's something that we could bring up to Mario.
I was surprised to see that, but.
I think it's,
Sense.
in my opinion, it's more applicable when you got a big industrial area. I would say we have a smaller industrial and smaller land use available for this use. But you know, this is like for a general
The
ordinance.
local, within our community example that we have a PUD is Irish Hills. Irish Hills with that trailer sales
Yeah.
facility in front, that's considered a mixed-use PUD because the whole development incorporates the small commercial as well as the residential portion. So something similar to that.
Is there anything in the ordinance for a PUD that would allow somebody to bypass this ordinance by doing it as a PUD? Because that's the thing that comes to my mind when I see that
Don't believe I'm
language.
qualified to answer that definitively.
That's a good,
Right.
that's a good point.
Great point.
I think that's something that we do need to bring up and,
Right.
have legal counsel review.
But I guess,
Make a note of that.
just my initial thought is, there's still a lot of things in the PUD. We worked through that one at Lake Urban.
Yes,
And there's a lot of things up to the planning commission,
there's a lot of discretion that comes.
Yeah, and it goes back to the planning commission.
Right,
So,
makes sense.
but I would be, interested in making sure that we can just, we don't just set up a really strong ordinance that here's some requirements, and then 10 years down the road, maybe we're not here, that the applicant come in and just say, well, we're gonna do a PUD, and then it says right here, the planning commission just can waive all that stuff, you know?
Right.
Data center accessory use, that's other uses in there. I'm not gonna read it all. Data center principal building, foot candles, a lot of ground mounted mechanical equipment, so a lot of definitions that we can read to see if we want to apply those or whatnot. Data center, PUD, general provisions, more on the PUD. I don't, hopefully we don't get into that, how many, I don't know, I guess it could, but. To me, that sounds like a lot bigger site. More on the PUD. So this is still
The whole
PUD.
I
thing.
think it all
The
kind
whole
of,
thing is,
yeah.
kind of was PUD,
It's
reading
kind of
through
like
it.
set it up. It was
Yeah.
an interesting idea. I don't know, at your
Yeah,
discretion, the board's
that's
discretion on whether or not you want to go that same route.
Well, that's, I don't know the advantages or disadvantages, that's something we want to talk to Mario about.
Yeah, we'll want to talk to Mario and I think also Laura or whoever our legal counsel is for this.
Did-
And the same goal as all of the other, recent major ordinance amendments we've been making. The goal is to tighten things up as much as possible to where it's still legally defensible, but it protects the community as much as possible.
Yeah, has Laura seen this at all, or?
Not yet.
Okay.
No,
Well, we don't even have,
we don't have that official. We have her on for.
That was my next question. Do we have her officially?
no, the board
the
wants to,
next meeting. so-
Oh,
the
next
board
week.
wants to interview.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, you're right. I
Or-
remember that now. Yep.
We have. her
Select.
for-
Select from like 3 people or something like that,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know if we need to go through all this. I do want to go to some of them, like the fire protection plan. We've talked about that. I don't know if we specifically said fire protection plan, but describes the fire suppression system that will be implemented, identifies a system for continuous monitoring, early detection sensors. So seems like good language. I think that would be more controlled by, or we would like some draft language when we get there on our fire service, 3 different fire services.
We want input from the fire department's having jurisdiction.
One more thing, our engineer here, has he looked at this?
We just
This
got
sample ordinance? No, we haven't.
We-
Okay.
asked
we
him.
don't-
That's gonna,
We're gonna,
Okay.
I'm sure we'll end up.
Sorry for jumping the gun here,
no,
guys.
but
I
we
just-
want our engineer to review this. but
Right.
Yeah.
Not like, right now.
Well, no, I just didn't know if he would say like, nah, this is good, or nah, maybe this is a good base, or
I'm sure
missing this,
ultimately
missing that.
we will, but
Right.
Yeah.
Not until we actually
We're
have
gonna-
something put together.
Okay. No, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll ask for further comments.
I know you
but-
mentioned he was a knowledgeable individual in this sort of,
He does have a lot more experience than
Yeah.
most in this field.
right?
Under the environmental assessment, it seems a little weak as far as water usage. It talks about stormwater, but not.
There were a couple things, and it doesn't really touch on electrical consumption or impact on the grid to the extent that I would want to see. I think it's useful. I mean, there's some good
Yeah.
stuff in here, but
Something to build on.
Yeah.
It's-
The one thing I really liked was the generator testing only during daylight hours,
You didn't want to wake up in the middle of the night.
like my neighbors. 3 o'clock
Would
Thursday night.
They test it or running it?
They have a test probably.
Test,
Oh,
3 o'clock in the morning.
yeah.
Oh, that's rough. Condolences. That's rough. Oh, man. I have good neighbors.
Yeah, so, I think a lot of times we talk about environmental assessment, and we're gonna give them all these requirements, but in here, I think, it does say, such submittals shall not be construed as imposing additional regulatory standards. So that's something that we're gonna wanna discuss with our, future legal counsel that we get, because that's something that I don't know, and I don't know if anyone here knows, like, if we keep asking to do more, are we getting in legal trouble? Beyond a state or federal requirement,
Well, yeah, I think that's where you run the risk of exclusionary zoning. If you have one thing where you're asking them to do all of these
Yeah.
things, then, it
Don't
could be
even-
subject to challenge, but,
Don't even cut down one tree or leaf,
Right.
and then it's like,
right.
not reasonable.
But I mean, each use is different, right? So even with that overall issue, being subject to challenge for exclusionary zoning, as long as we have an interest that we're trying to protect
Yeah,
and we
yep.
articulate that, I think it's defensible, and so.
So still on environmental air pollution impacts from vehicle operations. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of the water usage.
Don't know for sure whether or not this community has,
Yeah,
a large public water system.
Exactly,
or not.
they may not be
I
concerned.
expect that they probably do.
Yeah.
Okay, right here, Kevin, you mentioned this a lot before, but the community host agreement.
Yeah,
Before we called that a betterment or a
benefit.
benefit,
Yeah.
but, that's,
PCHA.
here's an example that we can look at. I'd like to see that, hey, someone's done that before, because
Yeah.
I've heard about this.
I've heard about it, but
Community
not-
benefit, but like how does it work? Give me an example or something. So this is,
Open space preservation, trails and sidewalks, park and recreation, public services, such as public means, water, utility, public safety, fire authorities.
okay, now we're into the details of the plans, of the agreement, which I don't think we really need too much examples. It's got more like general site plan stuff. Preliminary site plan requirements. Seems pretty general, which we already have developed. Okay, they talk about their identify surrounding sensitive receptors in 1,000 feet, so, I don't know if, to me, it's property line.
Yeah.
Oh, a utility master plan. Shall be required based on guidelines provided by the township engineer. Utility master plan shall show connection points to existing utilities, concepts for layout. Data center shall provide evidence there is water capacities to support data center and estimated usage. Yeah, that's something we need to have a lot more in there, because it's not just, hey, are you gonna get
Very
enough
minimal.
water? Are we gonna have enough left over?
Yep.
You know?
Right.
This
Or
is-
any other
This is
damage,
kind of
but-
one of the reasons why I was wondering if we can restrict, water usage itself
This is what I wanna,
to
one
just
of the
close the loop or
first
something.
questions, I think we can,
Right?
because, well, I don't know.
I don't know either.
But I think we can, say that they can't connect into another municipality's water supply, I think.
But also like wastewater too, we have to make sure, right? It's not just the sourcing, it's the disposal thereof.
It's a number of variables
Yeah.
that need to be considered. I mean, again, this isn't a cookie cutter thing.
No.
Right.
I mean, I think that we're gonna, I mean, depending where a location is, if it's more of in our industrial area where we have sanitary sewer, I mean, we're gonna want them connected into that, but we're gonna have regulations on what they can put into that, I think, or maybe the Genesee
Who
County.
controls that though? Like who, like when they're building these things, right? I mean, I've tried to get to that one out in Grand Rapids. I put in like 2 or 3 requests to go see it.
Oh,
I
you
wanna
said
see,
Greg.
I
Yeah,
wanna see
Greg has
how,
to.
like, do these things drain into floor drains? Like, I mean, 3 years to build one of these things and there's plumbers in there doing this and that. Like, are they just dumping stuff into these
Well,
drains and then it's going to the sewer? Is there a collection point that everything on the floor is led to?
So I
I
guess
need to
it,
see one of these
I
things.
guess it used to be a headquarters, and I can't remember what of, and they repurposed the headquarters to the data center, because it was already pre-built. I found that out this last week when looking into it, because I am also trying to do the same thing as
I haven't
you.
got an email back or anything. I
Yeah.
want to go see one of these setups.
Well, I've gotten-
see how they're cooled and like where do these pipes go to?
I've gotten one denial out there, but now I'm working with someone else who's already gotten approval, so we're gonna try to
Yeah.
slip in with them or something like that.
I mean-
So I'll keep you posted.
That's something that.
Again, we have to try to keep.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
understand that either. One thing I read some about is like, who can regulate like a large source well? Like say they're gonna be, just say for example, they're gonna put in a well to cool this. It's a big well, it's not like a residential, like so many gallons per day. I think, from what I read, maybe only the utility or the state can regulate that.
Right.
So we just gotta find out what can we control. If something's out of our control, how can we?
I think we can regulate the impact on if we can't regulate the well, I
Yeah,
think we could regulate the impact on the surrounding community.
okay, yeah.
Because if it's gonna draw down the water table, then, and that's a clear impact on the surrounding residents.
But say they, well, I don't know what size well they are, like residential, we do a 5-inch well. But you can do a 5-inch well and have a 1.5 horse constant pressure pump that you can literally take care of a subdivision, because all that thing does, when it demands more, it just speeds up.
Just
And
speeds
it's
up.
made to speed up. So they do a 10-inch well, right? But they put like a 5 horsepower down
Yeah,
there.
that's-
You're gonna go
But
asking for
it's
the
not by
well
the
report?
size, I think it's regulated, from my research, regulated by the volume flow rate rather than the size of the well. So it'd be like the maximum flow rate.
Like
for
it's
example.
isn't it how many gallons?
Per minute or whatever, yeah.
And-
So
No, I
you
thought it
know
was
that's
gallons
how
for
it is.
of use.
I mean,
Yeah.
pretty much universally, it's based on that.
It's flow rate,
I just thought it was gallons of
Vo-
use, not gallons.
volume
per minute.
over time.
Oh, it is a volume.
Oh, that's what I've read somewhere, something about so many,
But is that from a municipality well source, or is that from just a well? Like, how are they monitoring it? Do they put it inside of a utility room? Like, how much?
oh, I don't know that.
That's what I'm getting at.
I don't know the details.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
Sure,
like-
regardless, it would definitely need to be metered.
Right, that's,
as
so
far
you-
as-
like a gas meter or something, like,
Yeah.
it's gonna
That's
tell
why
you how
that's why I
much.
said
So
I thought it's how many
similar used to things
actual
that we have for
gallons of
sewer
use it's
right
happening.
now, but
Right.
it would be on a different scale, well, I guess depending on what the actual water source is, size of the well, all of those variables.
Okay.
yeah, and for one, I would like to know from a legal expert, can we say you're not gonna put in a well that has more than this much flow rate?
Right,
And it's like a regular commercial business, for example,
yeah.
you know? You can't take any more water than that. But can we regulate that? I don't know. So
Right.
we need to figure that out, what we can regulate now. Or can we regulate them saying, well, we're gonna bring in the water from a different municipality? I think we could say, no, you can't, because
Right.
this is Tyrone Township's land, and we're gonna regulate those utilities. But I don't know about the closed loop systems. I think, in my opinion, that's what we'd want to steer them towards. How can we do that if it's viable, you know? What happens to the water? Where does it go?
What
when
happens to the waste?
How often do they need to change it? What's in it? Is it
Right.
Is it some kind of?
I mean, I just don't want, again, this is like, where I think testing and stuff would be, where we'd have to write that stuff in about, regular testing.
Yeah, I'd like to see like a approved plan. Like
Yeah.
who's approved one of these out there? And what was their equipment?
They'd have to have it set up, monthly or every quarter or something where, Brighton Analytical gets their 3 vials and then it gets tested.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
that's
gotta
Exactly
be
that.
there's gotta be some type of, that's who we use in Livingston County. Everybody's you get a new well, you get three things, you gotta take it down to Brighton Analytical, you can't get anything cleared till it's tested.
So it's tested.
Yeah. So anyway, this seemed a little bit of gapped on the water usage. I think we need to maybe have something like, they need to provide us with a water usage plan. And then we can just put whatever we want in there. And that's a whole document they're gonna finally give us. It's gonna have all the ins and outs of it.
Do we have a utility master plan?
We do not have a specific utility.
No. But we have utilities in our master plan. And once we get through this, we can go back and update our master plan. If we, depending if we go to overlay or zoning district,
There's a district.
A lot of variables.
a lot of variables. But focus on this and then go back and update the master plan. But so that's another thing to think about as we look at this, utility section, how can we tweak it out to account for this use? Another thought on the utilities, this is electrical. Is that something that's gonna be out of our hands to regulate how, say for example, and just throwing this out there, we said our location overlay or whatever is way here at the south side of the township, just for example. And the big power line is like midway, a little bit north maybe. How are they gonna connect there? Can we even regulate that? I don't know if we can, because that's the Michigan Public Service Commission,
I think you're right. I don't think we can prevent them from connecting. But I do think, and again, we'd want to talk with legal counsel on this, but I do
Yeah.
think we can regulate the impact that they have on the other residents and the system. Because if they're causing brownouts or
Yeah.
massive increases in electrical rates, I think that's fair game, but.
Yeah, it's just, there's certain things that the state will have control on, and I don't know,
We're gonna need to rely on
yeah.
consultants.
And it's not something that they can just, I don't believe, use eminent domain and take the land and enforce you. I think it's still,
Yeah.
Usually the property owner would have to get the easements and,
Yeah.
or the land, and then they would build on that, but.
Consumers can't just come in and say, I can take 15 feet that way and 15 feet that way. Tough bounce.
They actually can.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they showed up,
More
and they were like,
circumstances
hey,
than you
we're
would
going right
think,
down
but-
here, and if you got a problem with it, you can call my higher up.
Yep.
I don't know. Sounds like they might just be able to do what they want.
Yeah, the eminent domain stuff is usually reserved. I'm no expert in this
Right.
area, but it's usually
Right
like
here's-
if they're doing a new trunk line, like when they redid all
Yeah.
the natural gas
Right.
in this general area, that was, I don't want to say it was all eminent domain, but there was a lot of that going on because there were
Yeah.
people that didn't want that going through their property.
Right.
They didn't get a choice.
right here, they do have all cooling and ventilation equipment within property boundaries must operate on a closed loop system. So that's kind of indication that this was tested in Pennsylvania. So I think I would be in favor of that. I still want to know all the details of a closed loop system.
Yeah, with the discharge and
Yep,
all, yeah.
closed loop, I mean, what do they, flush it every 5 minutes? You know?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, what is closed loop?
Yeah.
Yeah, define that.
exactly. Data center provide annual report of water and power usage, we've discussed that, I'm in favor of that.
I like his quarterly idea instead of this annual stuff.
Parking, structure setbacks, I think we're gonna have our own opinions on those. Building height.
I think we're gonna have our own opinions on that
Yeah,
too.
I think we're well versed in that, you know, that's, I mean, that's more of our location. Mechanical equipment, ventilation screening, residential screening. Generator noise. It does sound like they have a pretty good process on the noise. I'm not saying we want all the variables, but it's something to look at. Light and glare, I think we just kind of go back to our general commercial regulations. I'm not, they've got this optional statement here, I'm not a big fan of this, power generation from renewable resources, like they're trying to require it. I think that's, I feel like it's a double whammy. You could put in a data center, but you gotta bring some solar farms with it. No, you know, it's,
I think I mean, you could have some use for language like that in the sense that if we did end up doing an overlay or putting this type of operation in the same area as our renewable energy areas, you could get a double benefit out of the development in the sense that we put all the things in one place, but.
you know, I think so. I think there's opportunity, but I think it's more of, hey, they gotta be on the roof and they gotta, you know.
Yeah.
Option with restrictions,
It,
not a mandate.
right.
Yeah, options with restrictions and, yeah, not a mandate.
Yeah.
Landscape buffering, this is, good language. I just think that's kind of more something that's applicable to our location and not necessarily like a data center specific, and that we can look at it for example, but come up with our own. A lot of discussion on the screening of vegetation and buffer. I like that. I think that we wanna,
I'd like to see more, to be honest.
well, I just like to think that, you know, whether it's a commercial, maybe a boat storage or whatever, you know, the buffers in that is, for one, it should be probably similar throughout our different ordinances, but more applicable to a location rather than a data center.
Yeah.
What's a green wall treatment? I wondered that one. Does anybody know? It's not really defined.
What statement?
Green wall treatment.
It's on,
It's on this page.
it's towards the end of the
What's the,
screening
Before,
stuff.
after fenestration.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's a wall with like vines or something growing on it, but I'm kind of just guessing.
Some kind of natural
Yeah.
barrier sorts, for screening purposes. I don't know.
Like a natural wall.
I was thinking.
Mhm.
I also don't know what fenestration is.
Fenestration is an opening in something, I know that. I don't know, I don't understand.
Did you say green wall?
Green wall
Yeah.
treatment.
Okay.
It says screening including artificial hedge panels and ivy
There you
walls.
go.
Yeah,
Provides a low maintenance, UV resistant and immediate privacy solutions.
I
fenestration
think,
would be,
I think a lot of this is more, we want to develop to fit the township, and it's not like we need to take it because that was a data center. We could be screening a, like I said, a storage building for boats, and it should be similar.
and fenestration would be, refers to the arrangement, design, and placement of openings in a building's envelope, primarily windows, doors, skylights, but other openings like vents or loading docks allowing light, air, and passage.
Hydrologic impact assessment, describing the existing ground and surface water resources, including but not limited to description of the water table, direction of groundwater flow, recharge and discharge areas, lake levels, surface drainage, floodplains, water quality, as well as the projected impact of the proposed development on such resources. That's pretty good, a whole nother study of hydrologic, both the surface and groundwater.
Just kind of snuck in there.
Yeah,
Notice that.
final PUD, it's like, hey, I like to see that at the beginning
Yeah.
because, you know, oh, we already approved the preliminary, and then, oh, by the way, you gotta do the study of the groundwater, you know, it's like, you lead them on, you know? Yeah, that should be upfront. And then, as I mentioned before, I think, you know, modifying these, I don't know, we gotta look at that, because I can see like, oh, we're building one, and then it gets approved, and then, you know, we just need to have tight regulations on further ones. Major changes, appeals, more zoning regulation type stuff. Got some exhibits here, some fenestration. What is it?
Defenestration. Or no, not
Fenestration.
Fenestration. Yeah.
30% fenestration, right there is 30% fenestration right there.
Okay, I see that.
Does look better than a wall with
Yep, agree.
no windows.
I'm in favor of
Can't
fenestration.
argue that. So,
Okay, so that was the end of that example ordinance. Any other discussion on data centers?
Nothing right now. Giving us a lot to,
Yeah. I'm trying to, okay, so the board is handling legal counsel. We're not,
yep.
I don't know if it comes up in the discussions, like if you guys discuss fees, but I think, in my opinion, it's best to have someone here. I know that costs more. And not for every meeting, but more than,
Not.
more than we've had in the past.
Okay.
I think,
If it's not possible to be here in person, we could also potentially set up a Zoom option or something like that.
I know we can, and I would like maybe some Zoom, but not,
Worst case.
not only.
Yeah.
You know, I think, starting off on solar, Laura came in, and I think it was I think it's a little bit easier. I'm not bashing our equipment, but sometimes we got some equipment things, we had to have,
About half the time.
we had to have, Gerald, you know, on the phone, and we had Laura here, and I wasn't sharing my screen,
They
it
couldn't
works
see.
better, so, you know, take that into account if you guys set like the budget for this. I wouldn't be going for the cheapest attorney out there,
Right.
but
Okay.
also, you know, and I don't know if that's even part of it, just maybe they just say, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that I would necessarily put specific strings on it in the sense, I mean, if it's valuable for her to be here, my sense is the board would want her to be here, but we can
Yeah,
discuss that, and so.
I think a good legal representation is not gonna be cheap. So, get, hopefully you get a good one approved. And
It
then,
is critical though, unless we just wanna take someone else's ordinance and just slap our.
no, we have to, and I think a good example, which we're getting into next, is medical marijuana. We'll go on that next, but I think we just need to really have that reviewed in person. Mario here, Laura here, or whoever, special counsel here, and line by line, you know, what's the risk here? And that's, like I said, that's gonna cost us a lot of money for a special counsel to come to a meeting, drive here, wait for 3 hours, drive home.
Yep.
But I think it's gonna be worth it. Not for
Yep.
every meeting, but, you know, probably a couple, I would say. Probably one
It's really
midway,
beneficial.
and then one, yeah, probably the last, 3 or 4 meetings we're working on this, almost like every meeting, at least hybrid or in here.
Is there any way that we as a public, or me as a public, could get a copy of that?
This, what we just looked at, that's in the packet.
It's in the packet on the website.
Yeah, it's 91-page
Yeah.
packet, it has everything I pulled up on the screen.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yep, just go to the website and it's,
I'd like to educate myself and do some scratches,
yep, and if you want,
to bring some ideas.
yeah, bring, either send them to Ross,
Yeah.
mark it up, or type up in the email, or drop it off at his office, or
Yeah,
however.
I've got some questions, but I know this is not the place to do it, so. I'd like to get a copy of it, sit at home, look at,
Yeah,
come up with some questions or some ideas, even pass along.
We're encouraging as much as we can get, so.
yeah, Mike sent a couple, was that today or yesterday? Two emails today or yesterday?
Yes, sir. Yeah. And there's more out there.
I know, it was just newspaper articles. Greg sent one on today.
Yep,
Um,
and thank you for those.
It's like drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah.
There's so much information up there.
All right, from the planning commission, any other discussion on data centers for today? Hearing none, moving on to Michigan Medical Marijuana Act caregiver regulations. So this hasn't been business of ours in a while. We had recommended approval in October, and the county reviewed it and had some comments. Eventually, that got back to the board, and then the board sent it back to us to look at. I don't even know if the board looked at it. It wasn't discussed at the board meeting from what I know. So we'll go through these.
So my opinion on this whole topic is we do still have, my understanding is that we still have Foster Swift on
Yeah.
review for this. More or less what I'm looking for tonight is just an okay from you guys to basically pass this along to Laura, see if she can provide some comments and potentially attend a future meeting to discuss what our potential options are. So if you want to run through it item by item.
Yeah, I
yes,
do.
We can.
I do.
But that's the ultimate goal here of this discussion is to, give me some direction on what I should say to Laura.
Yeah, I think, my opinion is, yes, we want her to review this more, but the exact ones, I think we can kind of pointer and directions, like, what do you think about this? Or, you know, each one we could have specific questions on.
We won't need a motion for that, would we?
I don't think so.
It's not an
So,
official decision.
That's what okay, that's what.
yeah, Ross has
It's guidance.
Okay.
we already got her approved, so we can use her at Ross's determination or mine,
I
or,
can send it over tomorrow
Yeah.
if you guys are on board.
Okay, so this was back in December. There are many questionable provisions that have been found to be largely inconsistent with the guidelines for medical marijuana caregiver operations as set forth in the law, blah, blah. And then they're quoting some case law. And then going into it, each section, there's a,
What determines this? Is this gone to their lawyer and their lawyer determines this?
well, so they every time, from what I saw,
They're consultants.
Okay.
though, but they also said,
I'm just trying to grasp.
okay, so this is a letter from the planning commission, but then there's a letter from the planning staff that I'm gonna come up to here in a minute.
You're right.
But I think that is important to look at. This was, the county planning commissioners made this recommendation, is disapproval,
Right.
which we don't need their approval, just
Right.
so we're all clear. Okay, here's the ordinance. Going down to, the next is the letter from the county planning department.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I saw that.
Oh, they're saying it's been thoroughly vetted by special legal counsel?
Okay,
I mean,
that's
they
what I
said-
was-
No, the township legal counsel.
Yeah.
So they're reiterating that,
Okay.
the understanding is you sent this to your legal counsel. We did.
Yes.
We're gonna have further discussions, but, okay, initial staff comment. This proposed draft ordinance contains multiple provisions that may possibly be unenforceable, and in some cases clearly conflict with the law. County planning staff thoroughly reviewed the amendments and relied upon the following pertinent case law and other important and relevant sources as a guidance that have been used by other municipalities that have survived legal challenges. It doesn't say, I don't know if they have attorneys on staff or not, so it doesn't say if it was there could be a planning attorney that,
Okay.
but it did say like they sent it to legal counsel, so, but they, have some, good case law, it seems here, good examples.
Case law is definitely relevant to a certain extent. It's
Yeah.
just about, what degree.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
It's worth consideration, for sure.
Okay, the following review highlights the most significant problems county planning staff could identify. Okay, so then they gave us some more example ordinance, the side-by-side red line, and then a clean ordinance at the end. But going through it, you can see our old ordinance with the strikeouts changes that we're proposing, and then it'll go to a section of staff comments from the county. So I'll kind of just go through these, but like this first one, the purpose. Providing this initial section of an MMA ordinance is generally acceptable, but stating that the township is not legalizing or permitting marijuana is likely unnecessary and may confuse courts. MMA already legalizes medical use. The language establishing immediate repeal of ordinance sections upon court decisions is unusual and unnecessary, but not illegal. So like that one, like, I guess my opinion is we're gonna leave it up to Laura. Or Zach, I'm glad to hear your opinion.
I agree. I mean, I think it's worth having Laura look at each of these comments and
Yep.
give us her view on it. This one in particular, I think the intention of the language, and Laura could speak better than I can as to this, but, you know, it was not saying that it basically was to confirm that if the MMA law were repealed at the state level, that this ordinance doesn't make it legal for this type of operation to operate in Tyrone Township, notwithstanding that repeal. So I don't have a problem with that
Yeah.
language, but we'll see with what she says, so.
All right, moving on to the next one, definitions. You know, this one, they talk about the definition of caregiver operation includes manufacturers, extracts, and saying that caregivers cannot legally manufacture concentrates except certain basic forms. Extraction using flammable chemicals may violate state law. Staff would encourage the township to check this provision with township legal counsel. I mean, once again, I think we'll send it to Laura, but I don't think that one was, for one, we never said concentrates. We said manufactured extracts. I don't think extracts means a concentrate.
I'm not enough as an expert.
I don't need, I just say.
I read the comment as just double check with, you know,
Yeah.
special counsel, it's
Yep,
probably okay, it was my read on that comment, but.
So, this is, I mean, there's many different ways to extract, right? Like, not using flammable chemicals, right?
yeah, they're kind of putting
Like,
words in our
they're
mouth.
putting words
I
in our
thought.
mouth there, right?
I
Like-
think so, but.
Like hot presses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, like this is not, that has nothing to do with like butane extraction or something like that. Like, they're putting words in our mouth on
Yeah.
that one, and that's not.
We'll see what Laura has
Yeah,
to say.
I
Maybe
disagree
we
with them completely.
cross off extracts.
Yeah. No, extracts is good, because extracts can mean a lot of different things, not just.
Okay, we
They're
got,
protected under the MMA.
we gotta
Right.
ask Laura if extracts is included in the caregiver operations. So, moving on to section C, permitted uses. 5 patient max is good. Only 1 caregiver per parcel they don't like that. Potentially legally risky. Staff would encourage the township to check this provision with legal counsel. There's no MMA requirement limiting caregivers per parcel. Municipalities can regulate intensity, but using a blanket rule may be considered excessive. County planning staff found that this is often functions as another form of exclusionary zoning and is legally risky, unless the township can demonstrate a substantial health safety rationale and the ordinance leaves realistic locations where caregivers can actually operate. So, I mean, we kind of talked about that. We didn't want to have, okay, we got parcel A, and now you got
Well, you can have a family of 5 and.
5 times 5. So each
Yeah.
caregiver can have 5 patients, and this parcel has 5 caregivers, you know, and
Yeah.
that was a huge facility.
Exactly.
So we can regulate the intensity. How can we regulate the intensity without regulating how many patients?
So my read on this is actually similar to one of these other comments that we'll get to in a minute. I think, and it's good that we're talking about it at this meeting, because I think maybe we could dig into this a little bit before Laura actually is looking at this. I mean, the question is, you know, is this exclusionary? Are there parcels in Tyrone Township where this would fit, where it would work? I think
Yeah, so-
the answer here is probably yes. The other one I'm not quite as sure.
Yeah, so,
But-
well, I think the answer to our offset, or our buffer, what do we, setbacks?
Setbacks.
Exactly.
The setbacks is touchy.
That's exactly what I was.
From my,
That's just based on.
we're putting it into about a couple parcels. I think it's 2 or 3, you know, like.
As far as the
basically-
setback are
Yeah, we
concerned.
can't,
Yeah.
we basically said that you can have this in a M1, M2, or C
PCI, or was it PCI?
PCI.
commercial, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can have that in these parcels. But it can't be within, that parcel with the use can't be within 500 feet from
500.
a residential parcel. Well, almost everything in our township is residential. We don't have like a huge area of this commercial or industrial. So, but like here, we could, like, there's a couple parcels here, like 1, 2, 3, 4 maybe, here. You know, there's
also the potential for rezoning as well.
there's potential for rezoning. But that, I think that plays a little bit risky with the exclusionary, right?
Potentially.
So I think if we say that, well, we still allow it in these, maybe we determined it's 3 or 4 parcels. But that means only like 4 caregivers. Well, what if we said 2 caregivers per parcel, then now what, we got 8? I mean, I think that's more intense than our township can handle it to begin with. I don't know, how do we put that in there?
Well, I agree, you know, but I think we can give Laura the information and
Yeah.
say, hey, look, what's the
Yes.
exposure here?
Yep, I think
Yeah.
what we, and it's a good point about what meeting before we meet with Laura, because we need to give her that, she doesn't know our map. We don't pay her to study our whole map and understand that. We gotta give that information to her and show her, okay, here's what we zoned it as, and here's where that's at on our map, and here's this potential parcels.
Right.
So I'll be sure to pull that up.
I recall, I mean, we did go through that to, I mean, a certain extent during the initial review of it. I mean, that was a big part of, I mean, drafting this whole ordinance.
Yeah, but we got it in a pretty tight corner here.
Yeah.
You know, is it too tight? Wait, that's gonna, we'll ask for a recommendation from Laura on that, but going back to the, how many caregivers per parcel, I mean, I don't know, how many, I would say one's intense enough. I don't know how we put that in there.
It seems like you open a huge can of worms if you just have an unlimited number of people per parcel, particularly in our township.
Definitely not unlimited.
Yeah,
But I think
I
we
mean-
could say up to 2, like,
Yeah.
I think that was.
Well, he did say it was potentially legally risky.
Right,
Yeah,
they don't
so
say that
We
it's,
need to get this
Right.
from Laura, so
Right.
In residential, I think it wouldn't be a problem to say 1 per
One,
residential
and
parcel.
I'm not saying this, but this review really emphasizes it should be in residential. From all the input that we got from public, and I believe our feelings here, we didn't want this in residential.
That's why,
It's
I
a-
mean, all the previous iterations of this ordinance were residential based. It wasn't until this latest one where we
I know.
restricted it, and that's where we're.
So,
Push back.
so this is something just as an idea, and it's not ideal by any sense. But if we did get that opinion from legal counsel that said, well, maybe you should open it up to residential, I think the next question is, well, can we limit acreage? I mean, because if you limit it, you know, based on the amount of acreage, in theory, if it's on a big parcel, it's a lot more removed from the other residents, a lot more screened, so less impact. So it's just an option we could have.
or, but once again, the thought process on that was far away from other residents.
Yeah,
Maybe just increase the setback.
there you go.
You know, because you
Right.
could have a big parcel, but I'm doing it in here by my barn, which is only 30 feet off the parcel line, and then there's a neighbor and the bus stop right there.
No, I like that better.
Real world issues.
You know,
scenarios
so
like
we
that.
could say, you can do it on a parcel, but essentially, we have a lot of these, so I don't think it would be exclusionary, but, you know, you say you had 1,000-foot setback, just throwing it out there, and you recalculate all that, you'd have to have like maybe a 10-acre parcel minimum, you know, and that would not, in my opinion, be exclusionary, because there's plenty of those out there.
I agree.
But I think it could provide the same, well, I don't know. It's still gonna put it in a residential area, which is the majority of the township.
Right.
So that actually, you know, is kind of what you're discussing now is, you know, two more, if you look 2 ahead, they talk about the actual location requirements.
Yeah.
And they're taking that into consideration, I think, when they made that first, the comment you're referring to.
So, moving on past the number of patients. The next one, prohibited uses.
Yeah, I'm not quite get that one.
Oh, I think that was a drafting error.
Yeah. So the one that I'm talking about is the following one.
Yep, so
Where they're
I think
like-
that one,
This is what it should be.
okay, location requirements, yeah, this is, only allowed in B2, M1, M2.
I think that's where we need to figure out,
Okay,
get Laura's advice on this.
I guess I gotta remind myself, B2, are we allowing it in PCI then?
No, that was,
So that I need to go back and confirm my math then.
well, B2, there's very, very little that
Yeah.
exists currently. There is a lot of opportunity.
So here's the thought,
just a little
is we add PCI,
That's a potential option.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because PCI, at least we have, this is basically the boat storage action and some other vacant parcels,
So we got AmeriGuard.
Well, we got some that-
We got some office space.
office space, they want to lease it out, maybe they want to lease it to a caregiver.
It's planned commercial industrial, so I mean.
Yes.
As far as compatibility with what we've already drafted here, I think that it would fit in just fine.
Yeah, so that's an option, because at least we have a group of parcels in one area where they could say, hey, it's 500 feet from residential.
Right, so what they're saying is, because there is not enough reasonable area available, that we need to add an additional zoning to that.
More or less.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, yeah, they're saying we should, or we're at risk for exclusionary zoning.
What's their minimum requirement?
Well, I think ours is
Because
essentially
I
zero.
thought that was great, well, I mean, I thought that we did great. I
No,
mean,
but look
we
at here.
chose the B2, the B.
Yeah, but we also say in the setback that it has to be
Oh,
500
gotcha,
feet
so-
from a residential line to the line of the parcel.
So we're
of the
giving them
B2.
like literally nothing.
No, there's none.
There's none.
Was B2
There's
that-
no
Gotcha,
continuous.
yeah.
So it's always, every one of these is somewhat next to a residential.
Yeah,
Not necessarily a residential building, but a residential parcel.
right, that makes sense then.
So
when you add PCI into it, now you're,
then we got a little group down there
yeah,
by the action.
existing as well as our future land use map. We have a large area along the corridor that's slated for PCI or PCS type uses.
Oh, yeah, so we should be taking into account the future land use too.
Correct.
Because they, that should, be available,
That'll
essentially,
play
play
into
into it.
potential availability of
Yep.
yes.
well, that's the reason why I asked.
I'll pull that one up,
How
I'll
much
make
we
sure to
need,
pull that one
because-
up when we get Laura.
It's not definitively exclusionary if there is the option for rezoning of those parcels, which, I mean, there's an option for rezoning every parcel, but I mean, my understanding is the fact that we have it in our future land use map, that would definitely help our case if we were ever to be challenged.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a decent amount of M1, that's why I'm trying to figure out
Yeah, but the
It's
M1,
500 foot.
We don't have
it's
that
in
much.
fact, we only have, they're all isolated.
what they are, yeah,
In M1, we don't have in the master plan, we have PCI in the master plan.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I get you. I'm picking up your put down.
We dialed down our industrial the last time.
Mhm.
Yeah, so they're saying it's high, potential for high legal risk, separation between caregiver parcels, 500-foot setback, it's a functional ban, it's likely unenforceable, meaning it would just be exclusionary zoning, and then they're gonna get an opportunity to put it wherever they want.
Right.
Then they put it in the subdivisions, and right next to someone's house. So we gotta control it, but we still gotta keep control.
It's a balancing act.
And they got, Supreme Court, but only if they remain allowed somewhere in the township and the ordinance does not function as a ban. So,
Which this does allow it in the township, but
yeah,
I do understand their point, and so.
however, forcing caregivers out of residential zones is high risk if the zoning districts allow very little land, very little. We're gonna wanna know that from, Laura. Explain very little.
Define little.
Yeah. And the setback requirements make parcels impossible to use, ours kind of dead.
Yep,
The requirement commercial industrial environment imposes cost or impracticality for a residential caregiver program. That one we want to discuss because, I mean, to be honest, yes, the industrial property costs more, right? But we don't want it in the residential, so.
Based on the restrictions we have, I mean, it's not cheap for any of these operations regardless. I mean, as far as the
Yeah.
nuisance mitigation requirements that we put in there, it's gonna be expensive either way.
I think so, I mean, but,
That's realistic. I mean, even the
Yeah.
ones that we've had issues with in the past, I mean, they sunk well over $100,000 just into the road portion of the facility.
Agreed.
Not-
It's
not
gonna-
including the rest of the property, any residential.
if they're doing it right and they're making it safe, it's gonna cost them a lot of money no matter what. Just something that we would definitely wanna bring up with Laura, like, are we in cost just because we're putting in industrial property, which is, costs more? More about the MMA, residential use. Michigan courts repeatedly note that caregiver activity arises from patients in homes, not commercial settings. Don't like that. Property control, okay, they're cool with that.
You know what's frustrating is that MMA is so antiquated.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a,
so antiquated.
wait, you know
It was
what?
antiquated back, they put it in place, I mean,
Yeah.
And then they put all these stores in, and then half of them are closing down?
Yeah, just
I don't know,
blows
maybe
my
it's going
mind.
back to the caregivers.
Yeah,
Lock facility, they didn't like that we allowed, okay, regarding G.2, allowing outdoor grows in industrial commercial zones, outdoor caregiver grows are already extremely restricted under MMA, requiring fencing, visibility, shielding, et cetera, is allowed, but the question is, why would outdoor growing be banned in residential, but allowed in B2, M1, M2?
Because nobody lives in M1.
yeah.
Well, and we're not allowing it in residential by way of this ordinance, but, yeah.
So some of our fencing material might be over the top. Which, you know,
I don't know, I don't know
But
that
is
we
that-
necessarily need to revisit that, at least not based on this comment. I mean, if Laura was concerned about it,
well,
But-
a highlighted meeting, we're gonna ask Laura.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't. But they're basically saying that we're trying to regulate something that the law already
Exclusionary
regulates.
because of it.
I don't know.
And I think if we did get advice,
Good.
this is a valid point, if we did get advice that told us that we had to open it up to residential a little bit,
Yeah,
I mean, we definitely don't want it to be, we want to impose as many regulations as we can in residential areas, so we would need to address this section as well if we
Yeah.
did make that change, and so.
signage, okay, wastewater chemical list. We requiring disclosure of private cultivation inputs, targets caregivers uniquely, goes beyond typical environmental regulation. It's kind of odd, it's like, you're gonna revise, we're gonna look at this one ordinance, but maybe we had a different thought now, and just because we didn't, change the ordinance for a gas station or whatever, some other industrial use, right? I don't know.
Well, and this is actually, the first thing I thought when I read this particular comment was, well, it's kind of along the lines of what we're thinking about for data centers. So that might help us a little bit there. I mean,
Yeah.
the Livingston County Planning Commission wouldn't have known that we were thinking about doing that. So, you know, maybe that helps our case a little bit,
I
but,
think what this all stemmed from is, well, from history, from some instances that we had, from some previous public hearings, previous comments, previous concerns, and a lot of those were heavily
Yeah.
environmentally based, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, but I see what they're saying. They're saying we can regulate hazardous materials, but it's just like I said, now we're talking about MMMA. Well, what about 10 years ago when someone developed the gas station ordinance? And how did they regulate those hazardous? Well, it may not be the same. It was developed differently. So maybe we need to go back and just,
Well, my view too, on this particular comment is not necessarily you can't do it, you just have to be even-handed. I mean, so if we have the same or similar environmental concerns with data centers and we implement that ordinance, I mean, maybe I'm looking ahead a little bit too far, which is something we could ask Laura, but I think that helps this. I really do. So, because then you're even.
Well, that's definitely one to ask Laura.
Yeah. The same, actually, sort of thing with the next comment. But.
Odor. I mean, I think, in this case, I think marijuana is very unique to odor. I mean, and it's, the further down the list here, that's the number one thing that we can regulate.
Right.
Security inspections, this provision may present a major constitutional problem for the township. Staff would encourage the township to recheck with legal counsel. As written, it says, shall be available for inspection at any time. Municipalities cannot compel warrantless inspections.
These two, this one and the next one, were my biggest concerns as far as the comments are concerned. Not necessarily saying that, I agree with the conclusions that they're reaching, but I would want Laura to look deep into both of these. So.
Yeah, site plan approval, I mean, it says that we can't require site plan approval if we do.
Right.
I mean,
Well, they're saying terrible case law history. They don't really give us what
Yeah.
cases they're, but I'm sure Laura would
Laura
know.
will know.
So,
Same with the registration documents, patient counts. We spent a lot of time on developing
I
this.
know, that was,
Really
why are we tearing that apart?
Huh? We can't do it. I don't know. We just gotta check with
Thought
Laura.
we could. Cause she already tore it apart once. It used to be so much more
Well,
strict.
she was specific on the identity of the
The
patients.
identity, right.
You know, we kinda
It was
put
HIPAA,
it,
right?
we,
I think she referenced HIPAA with that.
I don't recall, but it was
Based
more
on
on that.
history, I expect that after we present this to her, once she has a time to go through it, it's going to, move everything along very quickly. She's good.
Yeah.
and it is frustrating, but it is valuable too. I mean, if this review gives us something, that causes us to go back and look at something that could be an issue in the future, it's a worthwhile
Oh, yeah.
exercise.
We gotta,
So-
we gotta maintain the control.
Yeah.
If we get out of line, someone else is gonna take control. So, this is the regulatory ordinance. They're not required to review it, but they did review it.
There's more or less referenced it because it's, they're tied together, but
Yep.
statutorily, no, they can't really advise on that.
And it's a similar comments. Industrial only, zoning, warrantless inspection, site plan review, chemical list, hazard targeting caregivers only, reduce setbacks, or allow alternatives, remove
So-
or justify one caregiver per parcel.
So it's interesting, on staff comment number 2, so we were just talking about the whole warrantless inspection, right? Replace with subject to standard building, electrical, fire, and safety inspections applicable to all structures. So we basically can be like, we're gonna do a random electrical, inspection. That's literally what they're telling us here. Like, no, you can't, and then while you're at it, you can go and look and count how many plants. Like,
So then,
my brain.
this is just other drafting of the, this is the model ordinance here.
Yep.
Model language. What can we regulate? Odor, noise, lighting, blah, blah, blah. What we cannot regulate? Patient caregiver information. I mean, Could've got this list before. Demand for LARA verification, warrantless inspections. So, then they give some like kind of direct changes that we could make. And then they also drafted a whole full ordinance that we could just use. So, I don't think I need to go through all that. I think we really just need to meet with Laura. That was, that, the rest of the thing is other planning commission stuff.
So if we're on the same page, I can go ahead and pass this information along to Laura and have her provide comment, see when the earliest time that she's available to attend the meeting and move on from there.
Yeah, just, I'm counting on Zach to either film the board or tell us on, are we doing fine on schedule, or are we pushed up to the moratorium,
Right, no problem.
you know, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
All right, anything else on Michigan Medical Marijuana Act caregiver regulations? Hearing none, moving to call to the public for any items. Mike?
Hi, good evening. Mike Amber from 11400 Foley Road. A couple of things with regards to the data centers. I know there was discussion about water testing at the centers. However, in one of the articles I sent Ross after the workshop, there were issues in Oregon as they built data centers. The groundwater for the people surrounding the data centers changed chemically. It was a highly agricultural area. Obviously, there were fertilizers with nitrates in them, and the nitrates actually, the concentrations increased in the water as the water was being consumed, even in closed loop systems. So to the point where somebody could not drink out of the well. So that's something to keep in mind. Maybe when we're drafting this, include testing those other wells affected by the same water table or coming from the same water table. Also, there is a data center in Flint. It's actually right across from where I used to cut lawns, going to school when I was there. It is run by Ottawa. There are 7 nationwide from Ottawa, 4 in Michigan. Used to be an old EDS data recovery center that got refurbished. I don't know if that helps, but they use a dry pipe fire suppression system with laser particle counting technology. What that all means, I don't know. I just read it, I don't write this stuff. So just something to keep in mind. Maybe we'll have a little more luck with them since they're close by. It is only 32,500 square feet though. Lastly, and again, as I mentioned, it's like drinking out of a fire hose. One of the articles I sent to Ross had a link in it regarding the MESC approving the Detroit Energy Power Plan for a hyperscale data center in Saline. This is going to be a 1.4 gigawatt facility, 575 acres, a $7 billion investment. They do not plan on supporting the data center with any new power plants. They plan on using power that they're going to purchase from outside the state, which at some point in time, if everybody's building data centers, is there going to be a shortage to purchase? It also means that the costs are being dictated by somebody out of state. Also, they plan on running more of their power plants in off-peak hours to charge battery systems to help manage the flow and requirements of data. They expect this to be a 25% increase in their electrical load. So just things to take into consideration as we move forward. Like I said, it's like drinking out of a fire hose. And that article had links, and that article, I'm sure, has got links, and, you know, you can go down the rabbit hole pretty hard on this. Thank you.
Mike, thank you for emailing us these things.
Not a problem. I didn't know how far down the rabbit hole you guys actually got a chance to go, because it is such a deep topic, and there are a lot of things on the plate. It's just that since some of these came up, I figure it would be a good point, or a good time to point out some of the things. I mean, even going down the rabbit hole, I wasn't aware of all this stuff, so.
Yeah, it's definitely been eye-opening. I mean, I've received from you, from Scott, I think Randy, from a variety of different people who just reach out on Facebook and they leave me a link, and I'm like, huh. And then, like, I check all of it, and same with all my emails, and it's been really eye-opening, that's for sure.
And it all started because the state government passed incentives to build the data centers.
Right, yep.
The 6% sales tax waiver and the usage tax
And
waiver
usage
until
tax.
like 2050.
Yep.
And when you look at it per square foot, these data centers are not employing that many people. And I'm sure they're not local people for all of them because of the high-tech requirements. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Any other comment? Hearing none, miscellaneous business. The only thing I had was the training that we already talked about. Sally, you had something?
I do.
Okay.
I would like to recognize you for being very controlled, very professional during our joint board meeting with the board. You were put in a very uncomfortable position, and you represented yourself and us very well.
Oh, yeah, that's no problem. I
You
mean,
did
this
do
is, we're just here to handle the planning commission business.
Isn't it nice how it was just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, well,
No, I agree with you, Sally, you did an excellent job.
yeah, I think I don't know, is there any other recap that we need to go over from that meeting? I think a lot of it was on the medical marijuana. We kind of covered that. Data centers, we covered any concerns there, I think. Or, we at least got thoughts of that. Go ahead, Russ.
Just the one item that I have is just to discuss briefly the workshop schedule.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that one, we gotta wait. They don't wanna amend the, schedule. They wanna wait till they approve the next one.
Wait till the next one.
Well, that's coming up, so I need to know that now, if everyone's on the same page.
Why don't we put it on the next, agenda for the next regular meeting, and we'll approve it contingent upon, I don't know how to do
It
this.
doesn't need a formal approval. It's the board that's going to set the schedule. All that we need is just an agreement that, hey, we can move it instead of the third Wednesday to the fourth Wednesday.
But we gotta change our bylaws.
Well, we can do that, but they can do the schedule prior. We can amend the bylaws at the next meeting.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Why don't we put that on the agenda for the next meeting? We'll amend the bylaws.
As far as-
Now, on that, we do need 2/3 of the planning commission to amend the bylaws, just
Yes,
so you know.
yep, but as far as the schedule goes, because I'm going to need
What's
to.
2/3 times 7?
It's true.
4, 5, we need 5. We need 5.
Just internally, a task that I have is to provide
Yeah, I think
that
it's just a
information
task.
to the officers so that they can start preparing that schedule. So I do need to know kind of tonight if we're all on the same page that we want to push it back a week, at least to try that. I think in the future, we can always wiggle it around, but for the time being, I just need to know if everyone's.
I wonder if, I don't know, what if we amended the bylaws to say that we could have it either the third Wednesday or the fourth Wednesday?
So the only issue with that is the official schedule of meetings.
Oh,
It's
that's
posted on
true.
the website and the calendar.
That's true.
I
Let's-
believe in the bylaws, we could potentially amend them to say, we could potentially, if announced at the prior meeting, move it.
Yeah, but you're right, it's based on their schedule. So let's just move it to, let's put it on the agenda to amend the bylaws to move it to the fourth Wednesday,
Yep.
as we've discussed. Keep it at 6 o'clock, everyone good with 6?
Yes.
And then,
And then you can just continue getting the board to,
yeah,
to be unscheduled.
Now, what if we amend the bylaws, we still can hold the currently scheduled meetings until the next schedule comes out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, what is
Doesn't take
someone,
effect until
what is
April.
someone gonna sue us over it? Maybe, but go
I mean, you
for it.
never know.
Never know in this township.
You just make it effective as of.
Yeah, we could
the
do that,
Future
so-
date, yeah.
Yeah, just for, scheduling purposes, I just needed to know.
Yeah.
The general consensus is we want to push it back a week. And we can always, amend the bylaws accordingly to give us a little bit more options.
All right, one more miscellaneous business, and then maybe it's something that we should have had on here. ZBA ex officio.
Let's add that to the next agenda.
Yeah, so,
That's going to be an agenda.
are you interested?
I'd have to think about it. I'd have to
Please-
talk to Ross.
Please do.
I'm available, come in, we can give you the whole, anyone who's interested, it's not, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of maxed out on my capacity. Zach can't do it. I don't know, I don't want to speak for everyone, I can't, so.
Yeah, we can add it to the next agenda. Assuming that someone's willing to take on that role, we can, discuss at that time. But, anyone who is interested, don't hesitate, reach out.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to kind of give you a rundown on how everything would work. The ZBA, it's a separate board, totally different from the planning commission. There's very set criteria. It's not, you don't, you have to comply with the zoning ordinance standards, but it's not as involved. It's very much based on the 5 criteria for decision-making that the state dictates.
Yeah, you can kind of, you don't have to, you can go into one meeting and have, knowledge, review that application, but it's not like we carry a lot of business over and keep
Yeah.
working on it. It's
Currently,
just
there's a cap
handle that.
of
and-
4 applications per month. They're generally, not always, but usually pretty straightforward. The staff here, we try to do a good job of vetting the things and, assisting as much as possible with the, administrative things to prepare all the members to be able to make the decisions necessary.
And they do a good job.
Any other miscellaneous business? Hearing none, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Support?
Motion and support to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned. I don't know, I gotta be at
When did you get out? Like 1 o'clock.
the locker room or the
I like you.
No, lately I stick around for like 1 beer after this.
Nice.
Yeah, I gotta go to MSU for a thing in the morning, so I gotta be there like early from. I might just not go there. I don't know. See you guys.
See you. What? Yeah.
Tomorrow morning,
Let's do the,
so feel free, give me a call, stop by, whatever.
I am so maxed out.
I
I was thinking about it, but I was like, I am so maxed out right now. My wife can't.
oh,
Oh, dude, she would tear me to pieces if I took something else on.
Good meeting.
thank you.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Oh, man. Yeah, dude, I have a dental appointment tomorrow. Right here. I don't want to pee all day or something.
You were like,
I did, I started wearing my bike guard.
yeah, I don't